All right, guys, welcome back. Today's Friday. Cinco de Mayo is on Monday. Mother's Day is right around the corner. The NBA playoffs are in full effect, with the first round wrapping up. The Lakers are going home. The Knicks are advancing. The Clippers and Nuggets going to a game 7. Tonight, we got the Rockets and the Warriors facing off in a game 6. The winner will play Minnesota. So there's a lot to get into, guys. If y'all didn't see, I just interviewed my best friend, Nick Didamore. Nick is the IT contracts lead for the procurement department at ExxonMobil. Nick is an exceptional young man and has been a very fine friend in my life. So I'm very pleased to interview him and get his story out there. Now, without further ado, let's get into the madness of the NBA playoffs. So the Los Angeles Lakers were just eliminated by the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. Do y'all remember when the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors played? I believe it was game 6, and the Rockets missed 27 straight three-pointers. They shot 7 of 44 from downtown. Do y'all know what Minnesota shot in game 5? And they still beat the Lakers? They shot 7 of 47. They beat the Rockets for a historical, awful night of shooting. I'll repeat that. The Houston Rockets, when they played the Golden State Warriors and lost, they shot 7 of 44 and missed 27 straight. The Minnesota Timberwolves just shot 7 of 47 and they still won. Now, what's interesting though is when you look at this series as a whole, Luka averaged 37 and 6, and LeBron averaged 25, 9, and 6, right? And they couldn't even make it to a game 6. So what happened? I mean, on paper, those are good numbers. I mean, pretty average for Luka and LeBron, and it's very exceptional. LeBron is putting up these numbers late in his career. I'm very impressed by that. But what happened? So a lot of that has to do with Luka and LeBron doing all their work in the first 3 quarters of play, first 3 quarters of action. And they did not have that same production in the fourth quarter. In fact, in the fourth quarter, in these 5 games against the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Lakers shot 29% in the fourth quarter. That is the worst in any single postseason by a team since they have been recording that stat since 1997. So, in other words, that's the worst fourth quarter ever in a playoff series in 5 games. They shot 29% in the fourth. Now, why? Why did they shoot so badly? Well, it's worth mentioning, and a lot of the NBA insiders have been debating this. JJ Redick, who is a first-time coach, this is his first year of action. He was actually in the talk of NBA Coach of the Year during the regular season because he had the Lakers playing very well. I mean, they were a 3 seed, but there has been a lot of debate as to why JJ chose to implement this strategic coaching decision in game 4. So JJ Redick played all 5 starters in game 4 for the entire duration of the second half. This is a historically bizarre coaching decision for JJ. There's a reason why no coach has ever done this before in the playoffs. He all 5 of his starters, he did not sub out for the entire second half, you guys. I mean, that is crazy. When you have a Jared Vanderbilt on the bench who is a 6'9", tough, physical athlete who also went to the University of Kentucky, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. He's a good player, and Vanderbilt could certainly provide some minutes for LeBron or even Luka going down the stretch there. And I don't think this would be a huge issue if LeBron was 10 years younger or so, but LeBron is in his 22nd season. He's logged over 70,000 minutes on the court. to ask him to play 20 minutes straight in the second half and not get subbed out. I'm sorry, 30 minutes straight and not get subbed out. That's just insane. So I don't blame LeBron for not showing up, uh, but a lot of people are speculating as to what JJ Redick was thinking. And then on top of that, in the press conference following their loss, JJ Redick was quick to get on the defensive about his coaching decisions. A reporter asked him about this decision to not make any substitutions in the second half and if JJ should rely on his assistant coach's advice more often. And JJ was very defensive, and it was just very thought provoking as to why JJ chose to do this. JJ essentially was telling the Lakers front office, hey, I don't trust my full team. There's only about 4 or 5 players I really trust. I need some more guys I can lean on here. So JJ was indirectly telling his front office, guys, we need to make some changes to this roster very quickly. And certainly that's what the Lakers are going to do this offseason. Excuse me. The Lakers were very close to acquiring Mark Williams, center from Charlotte, this past season. The trade actually went through, but I believe there were some complications with Williams' physical, and the Lakers' doctors, their medical staff, did not approve his physical. So the trade never went through. And had they acquired Mark Williams, it definitely would have provided the Lakers with some more length, some more size, some more rebounding, which certainly would have helped them. I mean, in game 5, Rudy Gobert for the Minnesota Timberwolves had 27 points and 24 rebounds, guys. I mean, he had one of his best games of his entire career, Rudy Gobert. 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. I've always been a Rudy Gobert fan. I remember using him on 2K back when he was with the Utah Jazz, and he was just an amazing 2K defender. I mean, you could block so many shots with him, and it's good to see Rudy Gobert finally kind of doing well in the playoffs. There's been some struggles here and there. And how about Julius Randle, guys? I mean, that was a very interesting matchup between Julius Randle and the Los Angeles Lakers. There was kind of like this machismo battle going on between LeBron and Julius Randle. They were both trying to assert their masculinity, and it was interesting to watch. But Randle, being a former Kentucky player, he's struggled in the NBA a little bit in the playoffs. He's made a lot of money, but he has struggled. So it's good to see Randle doing well in the postseason, and I'm happy to see. Excuse me, boy. Commercial break. So it's good to see Randle finally starting to produce some production. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. I've been having some allergies lately, clearly. All right. So, can Anthony Edwards make that next leap to the face of the league status? Can he be that domestic player for the Minnesota Timberwolves where he just encapsulates the whole NBA world? I mean, he already has very good connectivity with the youth. His ability to really connect with the younger audience is very impressive for a young player. Anthony Edwards has charisma. He's got swag. He's funny. He's not perfect off of the court. He still has some maturing to do, certainly, but he's only 23, you guys, and it's very impressive to see him knock off Kevin Durant, knock off LeBron James. He's adding to his resume. And at a young age, it's just very interesting to see. And he's one of the best domestic players in the NBA. Him and Jason Tatum. And I think Jason Tatum just kind of lacks the charisma that Edwards has. And there's something to be said for wanting to be the face of the league. Anthony Edwards, he wants it, right? There's an optics that's involved in sports that's very important. What I mean by that is the visual aspect of the game. In the series with the Lakers and the Timberwolves, you could visually see Anthony Edwards talking trash to LeBron, getting very physical with him. And that's what fans love to see. It's that optic. Anthony Edwards has the handsome face. He's got the smile, the swag. I mean, you could see him walking around the streets of Los Angeles near the arena after the victory, laughing with fans, talking with fans. That's Michael Jordan like. It's very, very interesting. Whereas Jason Tatum is a very good fundamental basketball player. He's more consistent than Anthony Edwards, but Anthony Edwards, his great nights are better than Jason Tatum's. And Jason Tatum seems a little scripted to me. Duke, Boston, work ethic. He's a little buttoned up. He's very mature, and that's what you want if you're a fan and if you're a coach. You want your player to be like that, but Anthony Edwards' charisma and his personality, I believe, will put him in a better position to be the face of the league rather than a Jason Tatum. But then you have a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's not a domestic player. He's from Canada, but definitely could be the face of the league. And Shai Gilgeous is interesting because he's a late developer. You go back to his days at Kentucky, he was not even the best prospect on that Kentucky team. The best prospect on that Kentucky team was Kevin Knox. And y'all probably don't even know who Kevin Knox is. So that just goes to show you how much of a late bloomer Shai is. I mean, the Clippers let him go. Shai is the epitome of a late bloomer. He is a definition of a late bloomer. But Shai definitely has the opportunity to become the face of the league. I mean, he is just a certified bucket. Shai can get you a bucket. I mean, get the ball at the free throw line, top of the key. I mean, he can get you a bucket, man. I love Shai. All right, so excuse me once again. I need to get sponsored by a water company. Maybe get some Topo Chicos up in here. All right, so excuse me. So LeBron James just got eliminated from the NBA playoffs, and every year LeBron kind of flirts with the idea of retirement. And critics for years have said that LeBron kind of expands on drama. And I can kind of see that. They say that he expands on drama and that he plays the victim. And if you look in his press conference, a journalist asked him if he was going to be retiring this offseason or if he's going to come back to play another year. And his response was, I don't know. Guys, he's coming back. This is what he said last year after they lost to the Denver Nuggets. LeBron and Brady have always been comparable to one another. They're both totally committed. They both have won late in their careers, and they're both exceptionally great at such a young age. Bizarre how good they are at such a young age. But this is where I think LeBron has a bit of Brett Favre to him. He kind of seeks assurance, drama. Please come back, LeBron. Please stop it, LeBron. Stop. We know you're coming back. You mean to tell me that you're not coming back with Luka on your team? And keep in mind, he's got another young son who could be in the NBA in a few seasons. Would you not be surprised if LeBron announced his retirement in a week? I mean, I would. I'd be shocked if he announced his retirement, especially with Luka on your team. But now, with that being said, and one more thing on that, LeBron flirts with the idea of retirement. He's flirted with it for the last 5 years, guys. He wants that, oh, please come back, please come back. And I get it, but that's quite contrary to a Michael Jordan per se, who after winning a three-peat, he was done. I mean, he went to play baseball for 2 years and then came back, but there was none of that dramatic drama with Michael Jordan. So certainly something to think about. But I don't think LeBron's going anywhere, guys. We've seen him do this the last couple of years. I mean, really leaning into that, wanting people to beg for his returnal. But with that being said, the Lakers have a lot to do this offseason. They need to build their roster around Luka and LeBron. And one thing that's interesting that I found is Nico Harrison. If you've watched my show, I've given Nico Harrison some criticism, rightfully so, right? He should have gotten more for Luka, but he didn't. He should have gotten more. But could one say that Nico Harrison noticed something about Luka that we all did not notice? I mean, Nico Harrison said, I want to win a championship here in Dallas. And with Luka, I don't think we can do that. People thought he was crazy, rightfully so. But is Nico Harrison onto something? Now let's think. What did the Mavericks look like when it was just Kyrie and Luka last year before the trade deadline? What did they look like? They were a little dicey. They were not a particularly great team. And why was that? Well, Luka is gifted on the offensive end, but he is almost a liability on defense. And we've always talked about him not being in the greatest of shape. And part of that is due to the European lifestyle and the training, the European training. But if you kind of look at Luka, he looks a little puffy at times. I mean, just his face. So Nico Harrison, he saw that with Luka out there, you need big men to protect the paint because they blow by Luka and they get into the paint for easy layups. So what did Nico Harrison do last year? He acquired Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, some big bodies down there to protect the rim, to get blocks, to get rebounds, because he knew that with Luka out there, the other team's gonna be scoring some points. So in that same breath, Rudy Gobert had 27 and 24 in game 5. Gobert had 9 offensive rebounds. Lakers had 8 as a team. Rudy had 9 offensive boards, guys. And the whole team, the Lakers had 8. So that just goes to show how much the Lakers need to acquire a big man. And like I said, they almost acquired Mark Williams last season, but that did not go through. And it's just very interesting to see how, my goodness, guys, I am sorry. It's going to be very interesting to see how they put together their roster. So, in that same breath, this is a shocking stat. So the points in the paint, the T-Wolves 250 in this series versus the Lakers. Lakers had 94. Second chance points. Timberwolves 174. Lakers 69. So those stats alone show you how much the Lakers really need a big man down there. I mean, the Timberwolves just had a field day against them. Rudy Gobert had a field day. And it's worth mentioning that the Warriors are a lot smaller than the Lakers. So if the Warriors beat the Rockets tonight, then it's going to be the Timberwolves and the Warriors, and Rudy Gobert could potentially have another monster series against the Golden State Warriors. So it's going to be very, very, very fascinating to see. Now, with that being said, the Lakers are going to have to build around Luka and LeBron to acquire some big men. So that probably means getting rid of an Austin Reeves, getting rid of some. Oh my goodness! I'm sorry, guys. All right, guys. Sorry. Welcome back, y'all. Just had to replenish my fluids there. I don't know what's been going on, but I just had something in my throat. So my apologies, you guys. But we're back. Okay, so now, should the criticism surrounding Nico Harris's name, should it go down a little bit after what we saw with the Lakers and the Timberwolves? I mean, I don't know, but I bet you that Nico Harrison slept very, very well after the Lakers were eliminated in five games. So, and I think it's worth mentioning too that the Mavericks next season, if they're fully healthy, could be a good playoff team. So maybe Nico Harrison is onto something, guys. I mean, all the NBA insiders say very good things about him. That he's a very, very smart man. So we'll see. I mean, definitely should have got more for Luka, but it's very interesting nonetheless. Okay, so Kentucky basketball news. Kentucky just added to their non-conference schedule. Kentucky will now be playing St. John's this year in the CBS Sports Classic. St. John's is led by Rick Pitino, and Rick Pitino was a coach at Kentucky during the 1996 championship team run. And who was the team captain during that season? Well, none other than Kentucky head coach Mark Pope. So obviously, Pitino is a huge role model for Mark Pope, both in life and in coaching, huge role model. So that adds a very interesting layer to this game. This is going to be a great game for college basketball, great for the non-conference schedule, and I'm so happy that Kentucky and St. John's will be playing one another this year. Now, Kentucky also is playing Michigan State, Gonzaga, Louisville, Indiana, and an ACC opponent that's a part of the SEC ACC challenge that has not been announced yet. And to me, this feels like kind of a vintage, classic Kentucky schedule. I mean, we haven't played Michigan State in 5 or 6 years since Tyrese Maxey hit the game winner against them. We haven't played Indiana in almost 10 years, maybe even more. I remember we lost to them when we had Tyler Eulis and we had Jamal Murray. They beat us in the tournament. So I'm very happy to be able to play Indiana once again. And then, of course, Louisville and Gonzaga. Louisville has had a great offseason. I got the chance to meet their coach in San Antonio. That's going to be a great game. But I'm really excited for Indiana, St. John's, and Michigan State. I mean, those three games just feel like classic Kentucky basketball games and games I feel like we should be playing every year. So this season's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a terrific team coming in. I believe Otega Owe is going to be he's going to be testing the NBA waters. We'll see whether he chooses to go that route or come back for his senior year. But regardless of that fact, we have a good team. It's going to be a fun year, and college basketball is in a good spot. Okay, so let's talk about this Golden State Houston series. The Rockets just forced a game 6. They're heading back to Golden State tonight to play. And I think that game 5 was kind of an embarrassment for the NBA. Now, hear me out. I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if a 7-game first round series is really necessary. I mean, if you look at college basketball, those games are must-watch games in the NCAA tournament because they're all sudden death. And you still have the best teams winning. I feel like in the NBA, I don't need 7 games to tell me that water is wet, that one team is better than the other team. Now, I'm fine with 7 games in the finals, but I wouldn't even mind if it was 5 games, you know? But I think it's very interesting that we forced our stars and our athletes to play 7-game first round series when it's not very necessary. And we saw that in game 5 with Golden State and Houston. I mean, the Warriors waved the white flag with 8 minutes and left in the first quarter. I mean, that game was over with. They were ready to get on the plane and head back to Golden State. So it was a bit of an embarrassment for the NBA. And I saw a stat where in this playoffs, it's the second highest margin of defeat in the history of the playoffs. So that means that teams are just getting blown out, and it's kind of unwatchable games. I mean, teams waving the white flag of surrender very quickly. And I don't think that's a good TV product for the NBA. And when you look at when the NBA was the most popular was in the 90s when Michael Jordan was in his prime. And the first round was only 5 games. So I think the NBA, the ratings would certainly increase if they made the first round only 7 or only 5 games or even 3. So that just goes to show that the Warriors have a lot of confidence in themselves because they essentially gave away an entire game, and they feel like they can win back home in game 6. So that shows a lot of confidence on their end that they can just fork over a whole game and still feel like they have a good chance to win. But it's interesting. This series got a lot more interesting. And why is that? Well, like I said, the Warriors were done early on in the first quarter. And the Rockets were able to inflict some damage on Steph Curry given the game and the blowout that the game was. So Curry would go to shoot, and the Rockets would come in and smack his hand, which is already injured. And that is legal. After the person shoots it, in the NBA, you can come in and hit their hand. And the NBA coaches are outraged at this rule. They are absolutely outraged, and I don't understand it either. Why the why the defense can come in and hit the opposing player's hand after they've shot it. And there was a picture circulating online of Steph Curry's hand, and it's very swollen. So that makes this series a little bit more interesting now, because if Steph Curry is limited and the Rockets force a game 7, well, it could be anyone's ball game. And whether the Rockets did that purposefully or not, who knows? But it was certainly a smart strategic tactic, which was technically illegal. And everyone would capitalize on that. Doesn't matter if you're a physical sloppy player or a dirty player or not. I mean, if you know your opponent has a weakness, you're going to target that weakness. So the Milwaukee Bucks are 1-9 in their last 10 playoff games. A lot of people are speculating Giannis to the Knicks, Giannis to Houston, Giannis to San Antonio. Even Oklahoma City can offer a large package for Giannis, and actually the largest, most lucrative package could be offered by the Oklahoma City Thunder for Giannis. And New York does not have as big of a package monetarily for Giannis, but a lot of people think Giannis is going to end up in New York. But I've lately been seeing reports of Giannis wanting to come to San Antonio. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be about who can make the most lucrative contract for Giannis. So it's going to be interesting to see where Giannis ends up. And did y'all see the end of that series with Tyrese Halliburton's dad and Giannis? I mean, I've never seen anything like that in a series. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's father went up and was talking smack to Giannis after the Pacers eliminated the Bucks, and they were just standing there just talking trash into each other's face. And as a dad, as a fan, that's just crazy. And Tyrese Halliburton spoke at the press conference following the game about that, and was just very confused as to why his father chose to do that. So that was a crazy story. So what do you do if you're the Clippers and you lose to the Denver Nuggets? Now, the Clippers just forced a Game 7 last night. But what do you do if you are the Clippers and you lose that Game 7? I mean, the Clippers owner, Ballmer, has the most money, and as far as any owner in the NBA, he's got the most money. The Clippers just built that new arena. It's the talk of the league. The Clippers are better. I feel like they're better coached. I think they have a deeper roster than Denver. And the Clippers should be held responsible if they lose this game. I mean, if the Clippers lose, do you kind of break up the band? I mean, in a way, I'm a little tired of the Clippers drama and the personalities associated with that team. I mean, when Kawhi is on and he's healthy and Harden, that's fun basketball. That's exciting. But there's kind of this feeling of, well, how many more games are we going to get from Kawhi? I mean, we don't know. I mean, he's always so up in the air. You never know really what you're going to get from him. And I'm a little leery as to how serious Harden really is. I mean, you always see Harden out in the clubs with celebrities. He's always out and about, living the luxurious lifestyle, hanging out with Travis Scott, hanging out with Lil Baby, which is cool and all. You know, he's enjoying the fruits of his labor. But I feel like Harden would be totally content if he never won a championship, and it's just fine with scoring a bunch of points. I question Harden's inner drive whether he really wants to win a championship. And I've been a big James Harden fan over the years, going back to when he was at Oklahoma City. I mean, I love James Harden. And we saw when Russell and Harden, being the good buddies they are, they chose to team up in Houston. Well, that didn't work. They didn't really get along despite them being buddies because Russell Westbrook just plays with so much tenacity, so much force. He almost makes you feel guilty if you don't play with as much enthusiasm, as much force as he does, as Russell Westbrook does. I mean, when you're watching the game, Russell Westbrook will literally jump out of the TV. He jumps out of the screen. I mean, he's the tone setter for the Denver Nuggets now. And he has somehow found this newfound ability to make three-pointers in a very smooth rhythm. So he's definitely worked on his shot. But I feel like when Westbrook and Harden were in Houston together, Westbrook would probably go up to him and be like, "Hey, bro, like I know you were out last night, but I need you to provide something on the court because some nights Harden can look like a hologram. I mean, he can look invisible out there. I mean, he looked good last night. He had 28 points and forced a game 7 against the Clippers, against the Nuggets, excuse me, but I don't know. I'm a little tired of the Clippers drama and Kawhi not being healthy and Harden not showing up. But I still like them at the end of the day. But they could also just have a bad draw with having to face the Denver Nuggets too. I mean, there was a stat the other day. The top three players who are better in the postseason, their overall statistics are better in the postseason than the playoffs. Number 1 is Jalen Brunson. Number 2 is Jamal Murray. Number 3 is Nikola Jokic. Jalen Brunson, we'll get into him in a little bit. But you have Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic who elevate their game in the postseason where they are just amazing in the playoffs. And that is really an interesting stat to think about because Nikola Jokic is great in the regular season. I mean, he's won several MVPs. So to think that he's in the top 3 to even be better in the playoffs when he's already great in the regular season is really extraordinary. So it could just be a bad draw for the Clippers. And I gotta show my boy Jamal Murray some love. I mean, Jamal Murray honestly is him and De'Aaron Fox are my top 2 favorite players. They both went to Kentucky and they both were stars at Kentucky. Jamal Murray averaged, I think, the most points per game in the John Calipari era at Kentucky, averaged like north of 20 points per game in college. Jamal Murray was insane at Kentucky, and I've always been a fan of Jamal. And I've thoroughly enjoyed that 2023 championship run where Nikola Jokic and Jamal were just on fire. And I really like Jamal Murray. And so it could just be a bad draw for the Clippers. But if you're Ballmer and the Clippers lose, do you break up the band or do you just keep it going? Just say, oh, it was a bad draw. We're going to keep going. We'll see. I got a lot of notes for y'all. As you can see, this has been a good episode. Okay, so the Knicks, they're advancing to play the Boston Celtics next round. The Knicks take care of Detroit in 6 games. A bit of a controversial no foul call in the favor of the Knicks in Game 5. I think the Knicks were the better team, though, but the Pistons are definitely an up-and-coming team to watch with Cade Cunningham. And Jalen Brunson, I mean, he's the number 1 player to elevate his game in the playoffs. Among all the stars, when we talk about playoff Jimmy, well, how about playoff Jalen? I mean, we saw in Game 6, the score was 113 to 113. Jalen Brunson got the ball. The clock is winding down, and he puts up a beautiful shot, and it goes in, and that's Jalen. Now, can Jalen? I feel like the Knicks are just too Jalen reliant, which is fine. He's a great player, but can they beat Boston? That is the thing. Or in this challenge Boston. I hope. I like the Knicks. They got Karl Anthony Towns, another Kentucky legend. They got all the Villanova boys. I hope that the Knicks can win a few games against the Celtics. I don't really like Joe Mazzulla and his this delivery in his press conferences. He's got that Bill Belichick kind of short responses, very dry, very rigid, and I don't know if it's a Boston thing or what, but I don't like it, and I feel like he's kind of just putting on an act, where he's trying to be that way. Whereas Bill Belichick, it was his personality to be very short and almost kind of rude. But with Joe Mazzulla, I just feel like he's trying to do it too much, and I don't know. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way sometimes. Now, Cavaliers and Pacers, second round matchup. I think the Cavaliers will face a little bit more resistance than they did in the Miami Heat series. I was sorry to see Tyler Hero go down in a sweep, but I think the Pacers will offer a little bit more resistance to the Cavs. But I do ultimately think that it will be Donovan Mitchell and the Cavaliers versus the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, which is going to be one hell of a matchup. And I'll be rooting for the Cavaliers in that series if that is what we get, which I think we will, because I've been a Donovan Mitchell fan since he was at Louisville and he was at Utah. I mean, I used to use him on 2K, and he was just a bucket on 2K. I really like Donovan Mitchell, and honestly, when he went to the Cavs, I was kind of like skeptical. I kind of thought he would just fall off in a way because he went to Cleveland, and Cleveland is small market Eastern Conference. I honestly doubted their success, and I was really surprised to see them be the number one overall seed. So I like the Cavs. I'll definitely be rooting for them over the Celtics for sure. What else we got for y'all? Yeah. So big news. So the NFL draft was last week, and huge news, guys. So my friend from Cinco Ranch High School, David Benda, was drafted he signed with the Tennessee Titans as an undrafted free agent. David will begin his career in the AFC South. Now, wouldn't that be something if in the 2 games against the Texans, David has a great performance? I mean, that could be because the Texans have some offensive line issues, which they were trying to make up for in this past draft. They got a bunch of offensive line additions, but wouldn't that be something if David Benda from Cinco Ranch High School was able to get in there and sack CJ Stroud a couple of times? I mean, as a Texans fan, I wouldn't want that, of course, but as a friend of David, I mean, that would be awesome. So it's really cool for David to be in the AFC South and if you know David, you know how much of a personality he has. I mean, he's got a great smile, a huge smile. And I think Nashville is actually a perfect spot for David. It certainly has a very vibrant social scene. And I could just picture David fitting in very well in Nashville. So I'm very happy for David, and honestly would love to have him on the show. I need to reach out to him, but I'll tell y'all a funny story about David. So we were in 7th or 8th grade, and I was at Beck. He went to Singer Range Junior High, and we were playing basketball, and I got a steal, and I was on the transition, and I go up for a layup, and all of a sudden I just get tackled by this force, and I would hit the ground. Luckily, I made the layup, and I look up, and there's David, and he hit me so hard I went flying, and I knew that he was going to be a great football player wherever he went. And I just remember being hit so hard. I've never been hit that hard in a game, and that was back in the 8th grade. And now to see David be in the NFL, join the Titans is really amazing. Binda played a total of 6 seasons with the Longhorns. And last season, he had 61 total tackles and 5 tackles for loss. He was a 4-star recruit out of Cinco Ranch High School in Katy, Texas, where I went to high school. We were part of the same friend group, ran around with the same crowd. So David and I got a lot of memories, and I'm happy. I'm really happy for him. So in 6 seasons for the Longhorns, he had a redshirt season and COVID-19 global. David Binda played 63 games for the Longhorns, and with this, it makes him one of the most experienced linebackers in this draft class. He played 63 games for the Longhorns. He contributed 170 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks, as well as 2 interceptions. And the semifinal against Ohio State, Gabinda had an interception. And I think that was one of David's best games of his whole career. I mean, Ohio State won the national championship, and David had a pick, and he had a couple of tackles for losses. He might have even had a sack in that game, but that was an incredible game for Binda. I just remember seeing that number 33 flying around the field, and he got that pick, and man, I was just super happy for him. But what a full circle moment for David. I mean, just the work ethic I saw in high school. He would not come to certain functions or hangouts because he was prioritized football. He was busy, and I just remember like we would like want to hang out with him, but like either he was training or he was studying or something, and it's just so cool to see that come full circle for David. And I'm very proud of David, and I would like to get him on the show. And another player out of Katy ISD who made his way into the NFL is none other than Jalen Milroe. Now, I did not know Jalen personally, and I believe he was a year below me, and he went to over D. Tompkins High School in Katy, and he got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. So I think other than Andy Dalton, who went to Katy High School, I think these are the first players to go to the NFL from Katy High School. So both Jalen Milroe and David are now in the NFL from Katy ISD. So this was a huge draft class for Katy ISD. I mean, just amazing. And the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, is actually a Texas native from West Columbia, a southwest small Texas town. And Ward spent 2 seasons at Incarnate Word before transferring to Washington State and then to Miami. So Cam Ward spent 2 seasons with Incarnate Word here in San Antonio, and I did not know that. So I'm going to be rooting for Cam, and Cam got drafted by the Titans as well. So he's going to be teammates with David. So that's very interesting. The AFC South with the addition of Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, Binda got some new players. So Texans might have a little bit more difficulty getting out of the AFC South. I mean, the last couple of years it's been relatively easy for the Texans, but could be a little different now with these new draft picks the AFC South just acquired. And today, Greg Popovich announced that he's stepping down as the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. Give me one sec, guys. Greg Popovich announced that he is stepping down as the San Antonio Spurs head coach. He's going to become president of basketball operations for the San Antonio Spurs. Greg Popovich is the greatest, the most winningest, the all-time winningest coach in NBA history, and led the Spurs to 5 championships. Oh man, I have some great memories as a kid watching the Spurs and then beat LeBron and the Heat. And man, so I'm happy for Coach Pop. I hope he enjoys his retirement. But that's the show, guys. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. I'm sorry about my issues with my vocals. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I'll be coming at y'all with another episode in a few days, guys. Tonight we got the Rockets and the Warriors in Game 6. I hope the Rockets can force a Game 7. And then we have second round action to get into, guys. So we'll be back in a couple of days. And I also have an interview coming out next week with my friend Melanie. Melanie is a journalist with My San Antonio Express News. She is a fabulous, wonderful journalist, someone who I look up to in the journalism industry. She's a terrific writer, and I really look forward to having her on the show for y'all. So, if y'all haven't already, go check out my interview with my best friend, Nick Didamore. And that's it for today, guys. But thank y'all so much, and I'll see y'all next time. All right.